InnerQuest explores various pathways through which you can connect with the infinite wisdom of the universe and apply it to personal, professional, and spiritual growth. This program, featuring accomplished practitioners, educators, and authors, is provided by Infinity Foundation, an innovative center for holistic studies and research. We invite you to share this journey with us.
Hello, welcome to InnerQuest. My name is Jay Stone, your host for today, and our guest is Bill Sweet. Welcome, Bill.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here to move some electrons.
Okay. Bill Sweet, besides being a comedian, is also the past president of Spindrift Research. Spindrift is an organization that shows how prayer and consciousness are real phenomenon, not just in the imagination. Bill wrote a book called A Journey into Prayer, Pioneers of Prayer in the Laboratory, Agents of Science or Satan. I'm going to love to hear the answer to that question.
Yes.
Bill's actually local. He graduated from New Trier High School and Illinois State University. Bill is an amateur scientist, a ham radio operator, and an audiophile.
That's right.
Okay. First of all, this organization, Spindrift, where does the organization draw its name from? What does Spindrift mean?
It's a nautical term, spindrift. I didn't know what it was either until I got involved. But it's the curve of a wave out at sea during a heavy storm. If you see here on the picture, if you can see the spindrift, it's the top of the wave. It's spray that's very fiercely blown. Mm-hmm. And it's beautiful to look at, but it's very turbulent to be in. And of course, when we're doing consciousness research, it's a very fascinating area, but it also brings out a lot of things that shake people up. So it's turbulent. So they're using that term spindrift to describe our organization.
I wonder if that holds true for sound waves or light waves, that there's a spindrift on that. Do you know?
I don't.
All right.
But we'll find out.
Okay. Now, who are the founders of Spindrift?
I got to know two Christian Science practitioners from Schaumburg, a father and a son, Bruce and John Klingbeil, who were doing healing work as practitioners. That's what they do. And were also very interested in doing natural science experiments. And they're trying to combine science and religion in a practical way by testing prayer and other aspects of thought. And I had always been interested in this type of subject, in parapsychology and things. And I found out over from where I live, Mount Prospect, 3 towns over in Schaumburg, there was this father and son doing tests. And they started doing them in 1969. Mm-hmm. And they started an organization called Spindrift Research, which would handle the research to share with other people in the community.
And where did they publish the research?
We were self-published. Mm-hmm. And it's a work in progress to get it peer-reviewed and everything. That's still being worked on. But what had happened is that our group of 12 amateur scientists, including the Klingbeils, provided our research to other institutions through the years, and they were able to take what we did, and from that, there has been a lot of other people who actually had more credentials than we did, who have taken it, saw that there's something there, and have investigated it. Prayer, consciousness, forgiveness, spirituality, all these things have been a burgeoning area of interest.
Well, let me just drop some names.
Yes.
Deepak Chopra, Larry Dawsey, Joan Borsenko are on the cover. I'll just read Deepak's comments because it's so short. Bill Sweet writes in A Journey into Prayer of the controversial laboratory prayer and consciousness experiments of Spindrift Research. Sweet illustrates the explosive nature of aligning science and religion.
Yeah, that's for sure. It's an explosive area.
Yeah. That could be taken two ways. One, it's explosive because more and more people are interested in believing, so it's appealing more to the masses, or it's explosive because it's dispelling myths.
It's a very good point. We feel that you need 2 wings on an airplane to fly, right? You need spirituality and science. And if one goes without the other, you have a lopsided view of the world. And you do need these 2 things. And a lot of people have not agreed with this until recent years, but now people are seeing that you need both of these things. And in the Spindrift research, what we are trying to do, in fact, is find a harmony between what science does, and science is very good at quantity and measurement, tell them how many rocks does it take to do this and what they weigh and things. And then religion and or spirituality provides qualities of thought and spirituality, things that people inherently know are good, but they don't know too much about them. But when you get quality and quantity together in the laboratory and find a way to test it, like we have through prayer, then we can see a common ground between science and religion.
Let me ask you this. A lot of Spindrift's experiments use plants. Why plants instead of people?
Expense, complications. Also, we're doing basic science research. We had to do it out of our own pocket. So we found that on a one-person praying to a plant situation, it was an easy way to do basic science experiments.
Can you describe some of the plant experiments? You must have used controls.
Yes. Well, as a rule, the way it works is you bring a person into the laboratory and they know that a plant has a condition that is deviated from normal in some way. It's under stress of some kind. Mm-hmm. It's like it has too much water, too little water, it's overheated by too much radiation from ultraviolet light, something where the plant isn't quite right. And the plant is hooked up to measuring devices that are fed into a computer for data. And then you have another plant that is a control device that is not being prayed for. And what we do is you have a person pray for the plant, we monitor the changes in the plant. Now, you have to do this over a long period of time because psychic and spiritual effects on something are very subtle and you have to accumulate a lot of data. But over a period of time, when you have a flat line like that where nothing's happening, you start seeing when you have enough people praying for maybe 50 tests in a row, that the data starts showing a line going up, that there is an effect on the plants.
And what do the controls show?
The control stays like that.
Mm-hmm.
No effect. And so we have a comparison then between what happens in the presence of a holy thought or a spiritual thought or whatever somebody is doing that you're bringing in from whatever background they have, and then you have the control group, which was without thought touching the plant.
Well, there's this scientist in Japan who prays for water.
Yes.
And then he uses like electron microscope and compares water that's been prayed for or has been held in love versus someone who's filled with anger and hate.
Well, what's really great about that is he's showing that the degrees of thought, how intention in a field can go either way. Hate and ugly thoughts can produce a very distorted picture, and then in the sliding scale up to what loving thoughts can do something. It brings more order to the situation. And actually, what you're touching on is something very interesting.
Well, I just want to interject.
Yeah.
It also says something about the person, whether they're feeling anger, hate, or love and peace. Because if that thought is affecting a plant or water, then it has to be affecting the person, especially when you consider our bodies are nearly 2/3 water.
Yeah, right. And there's another area here too that Spindrift would interject with, and that would have to do with and you'd be interested in this from your work. We're dealing with the subconscious mind when we're studying prayer, and there's a lot of agendas and ideas of how we want things to turn out. So even though it's true what you're saying, that when we get a result on something, a healing result, a loving result, it is saying something about the person. There is another little trick there that we have to be very careful that we don't have hidden agendas in our own mind of what is going to happen in an experiment. Let me show you what I mean. We have found in our tests that there are two basic types of intentions in prayer that we are able to track at this time. The first type of intention is what we call goal-directed thought. And when you have goal-directed thought, you have prayers that have goals in mind. Often it's called petitionary prayer when you ask for something. Mm-hmm. And what we find with that is that people ask for what they want. And often when people ask for what they want, they're asking for the wrong thing, we found out. And the way that comes out in our tests...
Who determines whether what they're asking for is right or wrong?
This is the question. And we find that the plants that they're praying for example, in situations other than that they pray for, have been manipulated by thought to turn out the way they want it to turn out. But it isn't necessarily what is best for the situation of the plant.